Hey guys, what's going on? It's Good Fun Films. How's everyone doing today? Hope you're doing well. That's good. If you are. If you're not, hope your tomorrow's better, or hope later's better. Hope this video brightens up your day. That's how much I want you to feel good. Anyway, so this is actually a video that I've mentioned a few times in the past, which is my views on Black Ops 2 and Halo 4. And what I think of them, what my opinions are, which one I'm going to be getting, or which one I'm going to be getting first, all of that. But right off the bat, I just want to say that, or a little disclaimer here, that I like both video games pretty equally. I have a little bit of a soft spot for Halo 3 just because that, in my opinion, was my first real video game that I really got into. But I like both games. I've played all the Call of Duty except for Call of Duty 1 and 3. I've played 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the rest. I think 7 was Black Ops, yeah, so 8 would have been Modern Warfare 3. Anyway, so yeah, I think I can easily say that I have played both games evenly. I went back to the Xbox, played Halo 2, I played Combat Edition on the Xbox 360, I played Halo Reach, played Halo 3, played Halo 3 ODST, played Halo Wars even, and I know everyone hates that game, but I thought it was pretty good, but that's a subject for another video. But, as far as each video game goes, this video will be pretty much just saying my opinions. And it might change as more information is released about both games, but right now I think I can make a semi-educated guess, or not necessarily guess, but an educated opinion guess kind of thing on both games. So as far as Halo 4 goes, Halo 4 I'm really excited about. I think that what 343 has done for the Halo industry will be good. From what I've read, I can't really see one thing that really turns me off from Halo 4. And sorry if you're having trouble understanding me. My mouth is hurting a little bit, but that's besides the point. Anyway, so Halo 4 looks really good to me. I think that it's a really good thing that a lot of Bungie employees moved over to 343 Industries to stay with Halo, because they brought all of the same ideas that Bungie had that kept Halo the way it was, but now you have new employees with new ideas, a new company that brings a whole new idea to the table. Who knows exactly what they'll do? Maybe they'll release something the day of that no one has any idea about, and it'll be great. As far as the actual gameplay mechanics, I think that the armor abilities that they're doing this year with the game are really nice. I think that the ability to be able to sprint the entire thing, like in addition to another armor ability, will be really nice. I think that that's something that honestly bothered me a little bit, because when you think about it, it didn't really make sense, even just as far as like fluff wise. Like, why is it that a Spartan who is supposed to be this superhuman can't run unless he has his running shoes on? Like, what does that mean? So I'm really happy they're adding that, and I think it'll add a lot of different tactics, because just like in Call of Duty, sprinting is a very important thing in Call of Duty, and I know that a lot of people don't like that Halo and Call of Duty are getting a lot closer, but I think that it'll add a few more game mechanics to it. In addition to that, the new armor abilities I think look really nice. For instance, I have one right here on my computer, which is Thruster Pack, which is a thruster pack will allow players to quickly move across the map, making them a harder target to hit and giving them the edge on mobility. Pretty much for all intents and purposes, if anyone has ever played Tribes, it's like the skiing, or I guess I'm not entirely sure what it's called, but pretty much it lets you move really fast straight. It won't let you go up really, as far as I know, unless there's a jump or something like that, but it lets you go straight. And I think that that's a really good thing. I think that the jetpack, in everyone's minds, oh, it gives you all this mobility, it lets you do all these things, but it really doesn't do that, because if you get too high, you'll either die when you hit the ground, or you'll leave the map and then you'll die because the map doesn't want you to leave it, obviously. So I think that this will kind of solve that problem. I think it'll add a lot of mobility, and it'll make the game a lot faster in certain parts. And I think that it'll add more tactics. If you have an entire team of your friends, and you say, okay, you two will use thruster packs and try to get around while we cause distraction. We just try it the normal way, which is just a steady move forward, run and gun, shoot. And I'm really excited about that. But another one is the Hard Light Shield. This full-size anti-personnel defensive shield will fuse particles of light into a rigid dissipative barrier to protect players from incoming fire. And I think that that's another really cool thing. And if you don't know what that is, for all intents and purposes, it's like the Jackal Shield that everyone has wanted in Halo. It sounds like a really great idea. It makes you lose your weapon, so you're just running around with the shield right in front of you. But I think that that's another good thing. It will add more tactics. For instance, once again, going back to if you're playing with your friends, you can have two guys in front with those shields and another two guys behind them shooting. I think that it'll add a lot more tactics, and obviously I'm sure that there will be ways to manipulate these new armor abilities in ways that the Halo Reach ones you couldn't manipulate as well. But I think that it'll add a lot of interesting things to it. There's also Promethean Vision, which I guess is, you could say, is kind of an anti-camper tool. It's the short-range, full-spectrum enhancement armor ability will allow players to detect shapes and movement through solid barriers. So I think that that's another cool thing. It'll really cut down on campers, and Halo, in my opinion, has been very good with campers. It really doesn't have that many because the map is symmetrical on both sides. So it's not as camper-driven as it always is. Well, not all maps are symmetrical on both sides, but for the most part, a lot of them are. Especially in the Halo 3 days. Halo Reach kind of went away from that, but you know what I'm saying. So that's my opinion on the armor abilities. The new weapons, in addition to that, also look really good. I think that the new Forerunner weapons will add a cool addition to that. But before I go into that, there's actually a few other armor abilities which I forgot to mention. There's also Hologram, which I don't really see the point of, to be honest. I don't think very many people use that, and even when I did run into someone using it, it really wasn't a very effective weapon. It didn't really add very much to the game, but if they want to add it, I suppose they want to add something from the original Halo Reach armor abilities that wasn't overpowered. And once again, before I start talking about the weapons, there's also the tactical packages, which are pretty cool. They're pretty much things that you get to call down after you get a certain amount of points. Like here is the shield package. Reinforced personal energy shield emitters. Players equipping this package will notice a much quicker shield recharge rate. So your shield will regenerate faster, and you will be able to be a little bit more aggressive because your shield will regenerate faster. But here's the firepower package. Override regulated loaded limitations. This package will grant players the ability to carry two primary weapons. Once again, you'll be able to have more firepower, so this may be for the more defensive player who sits back and shoots, like for instance sniper rifle missile launcher combo, take out vehicles and personnel. You have the ammo upgrade, override default, modular safety and capacity protocols, and exceed the sufficient ammunition loads. Player will be supplied with extra ammunition. Once again, this is kind of like the Bandolier perk in Call of Duty 4, which, once again, meshing the two games together may not be a good thing, but I'm just using that as an example for people who have no idea what I'm talking about. And I think that these will add more customization. I think that Halo has been a lot about customization. The armor upgrades are really cool, but I think that the ability to make these subtle adjustments to each character will be a big difference. There's also the armor customization. That obviously will be the same, if not better, than Halo 4 and Halo Reach and Halo 3. Obviously it'll be better than Halo 3, but if we look at the progression, Halo 2 was pretty much you could change your colors. Halo 3 was you could change the chest plate, shoulder pads, and helmet in addition to the colors. Halo Reach went all out. You could change your knee pads, your utility on your right thigh, no, your left thigh, I'm not sure. You could change your shoulder pads, you could change your chest plate, you could change your helmet, you could change pretty much anything you wanted. And I think that all of these things will once again make the game more exciting. But when you look at it that way, I think that one of the nice things about Halo was being able to have a little bit more. Just because you've been playing longer doesn't necessarily mean that you have an advantage. And here comes in the weapons parts. The class customization, you will be able to choose your own weapons. You'll be able to choose your primary and secondary, and I believe your grenades as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'll put an annotation if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive your grenades as well. But then it comes down to how will they decide when you get what weapons. If you just have all the weapons in the entire game when you first start, which I find a little bit less likely, but who knows how they'll do it. What would be cool is if they linked it with the campaign. For instance, you only get X weapons once you get to a certain part in the campaign, which would kind of force people to have a little bit of training, because in my mind the campaign is always kind of like training for multiplayer. That saying that I don't like the storyline and everything like that, but I always think of it in that way. But I think that would also cut down a lot of people, because some people buy games only for the multiplayer, not for anything else. I'm saying a lot, which is not intentional, but that is interesting. And actually here I just found something else which I actually already knew about, but I'm reading it now, so I might as well say it, which is the Ordnance drops. Ordnance will be dropped on the field during multiplayer match in the form of weapons or power-ups, which will then be marked on the HUD for all nearby personnel to see. Players will also be able to call in their own personal ordnance in some war game matches, which pretty much means that you'll be able to call in your own weapons. Some weapons will randomly drop, for instance in Team Fortress 2, things like that. But or Gotham City Imposters, that's another game where stuff randomly drops. So yeah, I think Halo 4 looks amazing. I think that they're making a lot of good changes, and I think that it'll be really interesting to see where it goes. I'm really hoping they're up to date. I really hope they patch things a lot. You have to hand it to Treyarch. They were very good with Black Ops 1, with updating things and patching it and making sure that everything was up to date and perfect. But as far as Halo 4 goes, I am really excited to see it. I really want to know where it goes, and as more information is released, hopefully I'll be able to see it. But there's actually one other last thing in Halo 4 which I'm really excited for, and then I'll go into the Black Ops 2 part of this, which is my opinion on that, which is the Spartan Ops. Spartan Ops looks amazing, and if anyone doesn't, and I've been saying amazing a lot, but if you don't know what that is, pretty much I believe it's monthly, pretty much a mini campaign. As far as I know, they're getting rid of Firefight, but they're adding this, and every month there'll be like 4 missions that is pretty much their own mini campaign, and what their thought process is behind this is that it's like training for missions. Like, there are little sub-missions that you're doing on the side, because the Spartan 4s, I think that's what you're playing, are kind of like, picture like disposable Spartans. And if you ever read the books, and if you didn't, you definitely should. And yes, I'm a complete nerd, I admit that entirely. But they were designed to be less expensive than, like, the Master Chief, for instance, which I believe is a Spartan 2 or a Spartan 1. I think they're Spartan 2s, though. And they would pretty much be disposable almost. You send them into a mission that you really don't think they'll return. They get the mission done. If they return, that's great. If they don't, you didn't really spend that much money on them, if it happens. Sorry, I just turned off my bike accidentally, so if you didn't hear that, pretty much you send them in, they try to get the mission done. If you get them back, that's good. If you don't, what are you going to do? But, so this, I think, is really cool. I think that, and quoting them, they kind of wanted water cooler moments. Like, instead of saying, oh, did you see the game last night, they'll say, like, oh, did you see when I took out that Banshee in that mission last night? And I think this is a really cool way to keep interest in the game. I think that video games have come down to how much content can you put out during the year? How much can you keep someone interested? For instance, Halo Reach, I honestly got bored of it about a year after I got it. It just kind of lost interest for me. I wasn't really interested in playing multiplayer that much anymore, and to be honest, if I didn't have friends that were playing it, I probably would have stopped. I have been trying to pick it up a little bit now, which is why the gameplay that you're probably seeing now isn't the best, but it's okay. So that's pretty much all for Halo 4. As far as Black Ops 2 goes, Black Ops 2, once again, also looks amazing. Taking it from the campaign, they have the new time period, which I think is kind of a cool idea. They're taking a more futuristic standpoint, but once again, here's the meshing of the two games. You have Halo 4, Black Ops, and you have Call of Duty and Halo. Two games that probably shouldn't mix, but they're mixing a lot. So they're getting a little bit more futuristic with the Call of Duty front. But I think it looks really good. I think the kill streaks that they'll be able to add now are a little bit cooler, and it makes a little bit more sense. For instance, Modern Warfare 3 is supposed to take place, I want to see either in 2012 era, or a little bit in a few years, but I don't really think that makes sense because we don't even have any of that technology now, at least for the masses. And I don't really see how a terrorist could get their hands on all this stuff. But that's what that comes down to, and I think that they'll be able to make a lot more crazy kill streaks. Zombies, I think, looks ridiculously cool. I like the idea of putting 4v4 matches into it, as well as having the classic mode, which is just shooting at windows, keeping the zombies at bay for as long as you can. But I also think it would be cool if there's pretty much multiplayer inside zombies, which actually, if you didn't know, they're putting zombies in the multiplayer engine, which will give them all these new abilities as far as how to do certain things. But that being said, I hope that it doesn't turn into a really competitive thing. I mean, I think Zombies, what's fun about it is just kind of goofing around. It's kind of like the community playlist in Modern Warfare 3. It's not serious. There's nothing that really matters. Just kind of fun. I mean, obviously there's people that take it really seriously, but usually the people who take it seriously aren't in public lobbies. They're usually playing on their own with friends, yada yada yada. But that, I think, looks really exciting. I would like to see at least like maybe in a private lobby that you could play with 8 players on your own team. I think that would be interesting. Maybe not in public lobbies, because I know from experience that when you're playing with the other people you don't know, they tend to be jerks. So I think that it would be cool at least for you to be able to do your own private lobbies. Which that brings me to the Creator class. The Creator class in Black Ops 2 looks really revolutionary, and as far as Call of Duty goes, no offense to any really hardcore Call of Duty fans, but Call of Duty has not made any really big improvements. And if you don't know how the new Creator class will work, pretty much instead of having primary weapon slot, secondary weapon slot, 3 perks, equipment, lethal grenades, kill streaks, or actually I'm not sure how kill streaks work, but I forget about the kill streaks, primary slots and everything like that, you will have points. And each thing that you want to use will cost a certain amount of points. So equipment, like you could technically have no primary grenade no primary weapon and just have a lot of grenades, because you can use those points and spend them on what you want. Or you could have 2 primary weapons, but you wouldn't have enough points to maybe have all 3 perks. Maybe you would only have 2 perks, or maybe you drop your grenades or equipment, something like that. But I think that would add a lot more customization to that game as well, because, for instance, I think it would be really cool to, for instance, drop your primary weapon but have a ton of grenades that you can just run up to people, throw around, and just have your secondary. Or maybe forget about grenades and primary weapon entirely and just have a ton of perks with a secondary weapon and then pick up a primary weapon on the ground. And I think that once again adds a lot of customization, and I really like how games at this point are leaning towards more customization. I really like customization. I think that it adds a lot more excitement to the game, because you're always striving to find that perfect combination of primary, secondary, yada yada yada. But when it comes down to it, I think that that'll also add a lot of OP things, because who knows what the exact combination of the single greatest class will be. If everyone's doing it one way, that will become the OP way. But hopefully Activision will update and patch things a lot. Maybe not even do full patches, maybe just hot patch things, and hopefully keep things under wraps. Make sure that things don't get a little out of hand, and just try to keep things balanced. I think actually you have to hand it to Infinity Ward. They kept Modern Warfare 3 decently balanced when you think about it. Obviously it's not great, there are still the overpowered weapons, but there are a few overpowered weapons. For instance, right off the bat, can you think of the one weapon that you immediately think of when you think OP? I'm sure you're thinking of the ACR, or you're thinking of the Type 95, or you're thinking of the FMG9s, or maybe even the Striker. I know a lot of people hate the Striker, they nerfed it, but I sometimes come across it, it's a little bit OP sometimes. But or the MP7, that's another OP gun, but I think they spread out the OPness. Now, OPness, that I did not mean like that. Overpoweredness. I think that it would have been better if they had made all the weapons about equal instead of having like 4 OP weapons and a whole bunch that no one really uses. For instance, I can't remember what exactly the submachine gun's called, but it's like the third one you unlock or something like that. If you had the silencer, it kind of looks like a drill to me. I don't really remember what it's called. Here, and actually, if you give me a second, I'll try to look it up. But I think that they the PM9. I think the PM9 is probably the least used submachine gun. I have very rarely seen it, and just looking at it, the accuracy is about the same as the PP-M1, but it actually is pretty much better as far as just the plain stats go. But I'm not talking about that. Right now I'm just talking about the fact that there are a lot of things that I think they could have done better, but as long as the weapons are decently balanced, I'll be happy. But here's the final stand as far as Halo 4 or Black Ops 2. I'm a little bit more excited for Halo 4, I'll be honest, and probably if you look at the time that I talked about both, probably it'll be that Halo 4 took up more time. But that also is partially because I think a little bit more information has been released to Halo 4, or at least that is well known about Halo 4. I think as far as Call of Duty goes, especially the Black Ops games, they kind of hold stuff close to the chest. They keep their cards hidden, which I think has its own reward, because then when the game finally comes out and there's all this information, you're really excited and everything's new and everything's fresh. But I am a little bit more excited about Halo 4. I'm hoping that Halo 4 is going to come to my channel when it comes out, and I'll be able to do all these videos, and if that actually does happen, I'll be sure to release a video beforehand letting you guys know what will happen. I'm actually thinking about doing a Halo 3 playthrough just to remind people about what happened at the end of Halo 3. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If there's any updates, I'll be sure to put annotations or stuff in the description, or even comment myself. And I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. So thank you for watching. Leave your opinions below about which you're more excited about. Try to keep this stuff civil, guys. I know that a lot of people don't like Halo and a lot of people don't like Call of Duty, but be respectful of each other, guys. There's really no need to be mean or disrespectful or anything like that. So thank you for watching. Have a good day. Please like if you enjoyed the video, and why don't you just subscribe if you're new around here, because then you'll be notified when I release more awesome content. So thank you for watching, and have a good day.